Welcome to our final lab, the sales lab. I gotta say, I'm almost giddy with this one because this is really where it all comes together. Remember, I said sales is everything. Sales is your messaging. Sales are your offers. Sales is in everything you do. Sales is everything you do every day, from, selling your husband on where you want to go to eat to, selling your kids on picking up their clothes, right? Picking up their shoes that they leave all around the place, right? All right. I need to I need you to pop up in the chat and answer these three questions. First, on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me your confidence level around your sales skills. How good are you at sales? 5, 8, okay, 7, okay. And just for a second, why is that? Like, what do you think you're missing? Or just just even a phrase. Just tell me, I want you to think about why that number. And I'm glad you chose a number. Terrible at the moment, Vivian. Okay, I'm glad you're here. And I have no doubt you're better than you think you are. And I'm going to talk about that shortly. But think about that. Why would not be a 10? Because Judy, I'm not signing clients as much as I would like. So good, because I don't know. Like, I don't know that you could be very skilled at selling and something else may be getting in the way. It's so interesting. So, all right. Sometimes I feel like I need to convince people instead of leading them to the best decision for them. So good. I love that awareness. So if we have to convince them, what have we not told them before? Right? Colleen, mixed feelings about that. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Next question. What's your current conversion rate? Like if you had 10 sales calls, let's talk about signing clients on the phone. What what would your percentage be? If you had 10 conversations, how many would be clients? And then add a zero on the end of that. 40%, 50%, 80%. Okay, that's so interesting. Michelle says, I think for me, it's that I'm better when it's a lower ticket offer. And then what is lower ticket, right? It's our comfort, is what it all comes down to, right? Where we feel safe or comfortable or confident. And then, but with my VIP, I felt confident. Okay. And I'm curious, is the VIP a lower ticket? Like, I don't even know, like my brain right now. Okay. So Vivian, 5%. Okay. 58-ish more recently, but including those first terrible calls, it drops to 50. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Okay. This is so good, Bridget. I'm so glad you mentioned this. When you are tracking your conversion rates on sales calls, they really, you should be looking at of my true best client. For example, you get on the phone and you realize, whoa, this person is not qualified. To me, that doesn't count. And you can feel free to end the call. So, but for those, I think, Bridget, I think you said 80%, 70 something, right? All right, 40 to 50, highest price. Oh, your VIP highest price, you feel confident. That's great. Okay. So then again, it's awareness. I wonder why that is. It's more money, but I'm confident. Ooh, there's something there, right? Yeah, 90%. Okay, very good. All right, third question. What is your biggest challenge when it comes to signing more clients? And for purposes of this, it doesn't have to be just by the phone. Like maybe your biggest challenge is signing clients without a phone call, or maybe your biggest challenge is, you know, getting people to actually take you up on a sales call or whatever it is. That's what I want to know. Getting people on a call. Okay. Finding them. Okay. Oh, and your expertise there. Okay. And then VIP was because she asked specifically for accountability and support, and I definitely bring that. Okay, that's cool. Okay. Michelle, what's your biggest challenge when it comes to signing more clients or calls? Closing or getting people on the call? Okay, Colleen says finding them. Okay. Hi, Amanda. I don't know who else is here. I just saw you pop up. Closing them. Okay, cool. All right, very good. Thank you for your vulnerability there. Thank you, thank you. Getting people on a call once they're on, closing's pretty easy. There you go. Once you get those best people, on the call, then you convert them. That's beautiful. That speaks volumes. But here's the fact, and I want to remind you, sales is the lifeblood of your business. And can someone please drop the document, if you didn't already, into the chat so that Amanda and whoever else was coming, Vivian, can know what we're looking at here. All right, sales is the lifeblood of your business. And we may have hangups about the word sales or about sales as a concept. But here's the deal. Impact is the byproduct of your sales. More sales, more impact. So I've never met a woman, especially a Christian woman, that said, I want to make more impact. I want to make more impact. That's where my focus is. I want to make more impact. Great. Well, then reverse engineer that. I want to make this high level of impact. Then I have to have a high level of sales. Okay. Now, the sales-centric business model, and I mentioned it just a few moments ago, we're going to remember that when we knock down this sales mindset, this sales approach, this reverse engineering from the sales end that we are looking for, then our mindset is better. Then our messaging is crisper. Then our positioning is more precise. Okay, all that. It all begins with sales. Now, here's a powerful truth. Did you know, and there have been so many studies done, so this is guaranteed, okay? We outperform the guys when it comes to sales. Women outperform men. And when I think about that, I know when I was in various sales jobs before I went to law school, that was so true. And somehow in the law, they're just like, kind of, the lawyers can be so arrogant and bullish. They, I don't know how the legal thing is. I won more than I lost. But I'd be curious where that breaks down in the law. But generally speaking, sales, we do better. We're 5% more likely to close a deal. And when we talk about meeting quotas, we're 3% more likely to do that. So here's the deal. You might have read the email. This is why I say today we're going to burn the bro tactics and the secular way of looking at sales. Because this is what they say. It's all about the money, honey. You see all these people, even Christian influencers, which really makes me want to vomit in my mouth when a Christian says, I love money. If I knew how to cross that out, I don't know how to do that, but I will be for the final document, because I can't even look at that. That just makes me viscerally react to that. We don't love money, but that doesn't mean we can't make a lot of money, because what did I say? The impact's a byproduct of the sales. But the secular's like, let's get rich, baby. And then they wear these designer clothes. They get these expensive baubles, I like to say, whether it's a house, a car, or whatever, right? That's not us. But it is safe for us to make money. And I want you to write that down in the chat, because that's something that I've been working on for myself many, many years. It is safe for me to make a lot of money. And I think that, especially because I was raised poor, and I know probably some of you were as well, it's just like, sometimes it's hard to imagine that the money you make in a month is more than you used to make in a year. It just feels wrong somehow. But it is safe to make money. But the bros approach sales is push for the sale. And they pound the table. My manager used to pound the table. Make more calls, push for the sale, get the sale, talk them into it, right? They tell you to convince. They tell you to hustle. And they say it's a numbers game, quantity over quality. We're going to talk about that too. All of that, throw out the window. Happily, okay? Now, we're going to talk about sales skills today and sales strategy. But each way I'm doing it a little different than you might expect. But here's, in the way of skills, because you guys told me where your confidence level is and where your biggest challenge and questions are around sales skills. But here's what you need to know. Signing a client does not come down to you delivering a perfectly memorized script. Because if a robot knew the right answers to say according to anybody's script, they may or may not get the sale, and probably not. Because sales is a transfer of certainty. How many times have you heard that? This is probably not the first time you've heard it, but I'm praying that as we go through this, you'll start to more fully understand in your mind so that you can use this to your advantage. It's a transference of certainty, borrowing belief. Certainty is 100% belief. You are solid. You are unwavering. It's an unwavering knowing. And see, the fact of the matter is, your prospect often borrows your certainty. And certainty comes down to belief. So here's the deal. If you're uncertain, the prospect's going to be uncertain. But if you believe and you convey that, and you come from a place of alignment and embodiment of that belief, the prospect's going to be more likely than not to believe. So then you're like, belief about what? Welcome to the belief triangle. These are three sides of this triangle that both you have to have full belief on, and the prospect has to have more belief than not on each of these areas. Okay, so let's go through it. As far as you, when it comes to what you have to do on this triangle, you need to be certain and build the certainty that you are an authority. You got to believe it. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I don't know everything. Nobody does. In the law, you don't have to have the answers. You'd have to know where to look. Doctors, same thing. So with you, same with you. If a prospect asks you a question that you don't know, don't make that mean that you're stupid or you should know the answer. You just say, wow, that's a great question. That's a great question. Stand in your authority. We're going to talk about that in a second, even more. So that's your belief about you. You also have to believe that your offer is the solution for your people. It doesn't have to be the perfect offer for everybody in the world, but your offer, you don't love it. Okay. I don't want to say you love your offer, okay, in the abstract, but you firmly believe that your offer will get your best client the solution that they're looking for. And then when it relates to the prospect, you've got to believe that you can help this prospect, that your offer not only can help your best client, but that you will help this best client in front of you, this prospect, get the result. Okay, that's your belief. The stronger you are in each of these three, the stronger she's going to be, or he or they, whoever you serve, are going to be in theirs. Okay. So what does your prospect need to believe around you? Well, they have to believe that you're the authority, right? So the only way you're going to do that is being aligned. And I have it here. Certainty, especially here, comes down to alignment. So are you grounded in your status? And I just love the word status. It reminds me of like a legal status, or here I said a covenantal standing as a God-anointed, God-appointed authority. Like, ladies, what I've found in working with so many Christian women from all over, and I'm getting ahead of myself as I typically do, too often we love to quote the Bible verse, but are we living it out? We love to say, I know that God called me to this. Well, wait a minute. If you're grounded in that status, that he called you, he anointed you, he appointed you, he's going to fulfill his promises in his word, then wait a minute. The word says that he is going to equip me so that I can complete wherever he's called me. So why are we not grounded in that identity of an authority? God anointed, God appointed. It's not self-appointed. Are you feeling me? That's like such power. The God of the universe has anointed you. Like, can we please just put the fear aside? Like, when you just sit in that, and I'm going to take you through an exercise. Anyway, all right. So the prospect, as it relates to the offer, and this is key, ladies, write this down. The prospect has to believe that your offer is going to help them solve that specific problem that they have been aware of and that they've been looking to fix. That's where it becomes so important. This hyper specificity that I keep talking about and harping on is because they need to believe that that offer is going to get them exactly what they want. And then they have to believe not only that that offer works for most people or whatever, but they have to believe it works for them. And this tends to be the biggest bugaboo of all. That they think, okay, I see your testimonials and yeah, I can see you know what you're doing and the offer sounds great, but will I get whatever it is that she wants, right? So let's talk about this for a second. Do you actually believe what you say you believe? With God, nothing is impossible. Do we really believe that? Because if you do, you're going to feel certain in your body. It is done. It is done. And it's not for me to determine the timing of that. Okay. Like if I opened my doors to business yesterday and it's not happening by the end of the week, that doesn't mean that I heard God wrong, or even necessarily 6 months or a year. I mean, it's not for us to determine the timing, but it's our responsibility to know and take God at his word and feel so certain that we feel it in our body. Tell me in the chat, do you know when I say feel it in your body, do you know what I'm saying about you're just so certain? If it's not about this, about something, I want to understand. I want to see if you understand this concept of actually feeling something, believing something so deeply that you feel it in your body. Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. And thank you all for sharing that link for Vivian in the comments. All right, because here's what happens. If you don't believe what you say, you're going to doubt, you're going to waver, you're going to be afraid. And you're going to avoid what you know you need to do. It doesn't happen as much now, but in the earlier days of this coaching business, I would get clients coming or prospects coming to calls saying, well, Jude, I know what I need to do. I'm just not doing it. It was almost like they're proud to say, I know what I need to do. I'm just not doing it. If you're not doing it, why not? Because you're afraid. Something's going on, right? That's a problem. Yeah, Michelle says she hears that all the time. Yeah. And so you guys that, especially Michelle, I know some of you, you only work with Christians, so feel free to use this on them. Like, how certain are you? you know? But what I decided to do is I decided to gift all of you my 30-day faith-fueled biz journal, which all my clients get this. And I encourage them in the first 30 days to go through this. It is a daily Bible verse, blurb about it, and a journaling prompt. Because we really need to not just, I hate to be judgmental. Is anybody else judgmental sometimes with clients, even like they, you know, uh, and don't say, oh gosh, now I'm thinking Judy might be mad at me or judge me. No, it's my problem because I could also judge myself when I hear, and it happens usually on like free events like this, where the person that is in the chat, like quoting scripture and doing all these things, they know that well, but they're not living it out. They're struggling in their business. So if you all like like Michelle, if you have an event and you say quote scripture and they go, and then they all of a sudden quote some other thing and they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then they were like, oh, I'm not ready for this. It's like it makes them feel better. But I don't want to just be a hearer of the word and a repeater of the word. I want to be a doer of the word. Amen. It's so important. And I'm talking to myself as much as you guys. All right. And so I'm already moving to strategy, but the point is the whole juice of sales skills is this triangle. It's belief. And I'll give you a quick example. Okay, I'm going to come off this for a second. The first time this happened for me is when I was in sales selling dictaphone. And I don't know why it hit me on certain days, but this is like early on selling dictation equipment. And I had the service guys install this digital something in this law firm. And it was a small firm. It was like a 2-man operation or something. Maybe one guy, I don't even know. But I met with this guy. And as I'm driving there, I'm thinking to myself, I am not dismantling this system. He is buying this. Like I just decided it, right? And long story short, I sit down with him, whatever, and he's like, Judy, just so you know, it was fine, but I'm not buying it. And I just wouldn't take no for an answer, but it wasn't like I was convincing you got to do it. It's Friday night and I don't want to take it apart. It wasn't that at all. But I tell you, this is why this very moment is why God allowed that to happen, I guess, because I was just like, I was asking him all these questions that just flowed out of me. Like, well, wait a minute, tell me what it was like. Was it easier for you instead of, it was a thing hooked right up to the secretary, so he didn't have to take out tapes and whatever the heck else. And he just talked himself into, wow, yeah, that was a lot better. And I could do it from remote and all this other stuff. I said, and how about your secretary? Did she appreciate that she didn't have to wait for your tapes and all this stuff? Long story short, we negotiated on the price, but he got it. And as I walked out, I said, I knew it. But there were times when I just was so convinced and decided and certain that day. So as you go on calls, I encourage you, just decide. And if they say no, that doesn't mean you're a loser at all, but you're going to the call with certainty. You're going to the call detached. If he didn't buy, whatever, it really wasn't that hard. He gave me that initial whatever, and it really wasn't hard after that. But I'll tell you, if I would have been a weakling, I would have said, okay, and walked out with my tail between my legs. Has that ever happened to you on a sales call? I just want to bring that back when you're going on a call and you're like, ooh, I'm feeling like it's going south. Even in the middle, when it feels like, oh, I can tell they're excited, but I'm losing them. Okay, you have that momentary thing. Bring yourself grounded to who you are in Christ and say, it's okay if they don't buy, but I've got to make sure I'm communicating what they need to know to make that best decision for them. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. Let's go back. Now we're going to talk strategy. Again, reminder, everything you do in business is sales. Okay. Now, the market, we all know, began to shift in 23, 24. So we are in a trust recession, whatever you want to call it, it's here. And so buyer behaviors have changed. And so we need to be aware of this. Okay. But in my world, we are only talking to, no matter where we are, no matter like what social channel, platform, writing, whatever it is, we only talk to the premium, high caliber best clients. And so we need to know how their buyer behavior has changed. Well, they become more discerning. And so what they want is they're looking for an authority, not just an expert. They're looking for the best of the best. And they're looking for that authority to solve a very specific problem. And so while it can feel very painful when I say, of your offer, what is the specific solution? What is the specific problem you're solving? Like, what do they want? And the reason I do that is because the more specific you are in nailing that, the more of the real best clients you're going to get. And so I have in yellow here something that I think is really important for you. Do not believe the lie that people buy slow today and they require a long nurture. Because the ones you want, these guys, they don't buy slow. They buy fast when they see the authority and that you're solving a specific problem. That's what this is. Okay. So like, remember that. That's the truth. So here's where the rubber meets the road. We have to make every offer curated for that premium best client. And it may sound like, well, Judy, duh, but hang on. So that means every freebie, every authority catalyst offer, which is what I call low ticket offers. Why do you call it authority catalyst? Because when they consume your $7 something, your $47 something, it's such a breakthrough for them that they love you and like, okay, you that low ticket offer catalyzed you as an authority in their mind. That's why I call it that. What other type of offers? Your core scalable offer or your super high proximity offers, they've all got to be made for that one client. Now, some of you might be saying, well, Judy, there might be, okay, look, not everybody is the same and no two businesses are alike. But I'm saying to you that when it comes down to your core business, you've got to have one best client and everything is created for them. Okay. So that means that you don't create a freebie for one of those beginner buyers or those newbies. Because if you've done that, then you're going to ultimately scratch your head. I wonder why the wrong people are in my audience. Well, because you called them out. Because that's who you're serving, right? All right. So when it comes to sales strategy, and in particular, ultimately getting you off of having to do sales calls, funnels are very important. So the traditional funnel flow is completely irrelevant today. And I know it's small, but you can see that the traditional funnel, it was an actual funnel looking thing. And the whole idea in the secular / bro world is fill up that baby. Numbers, bring them in. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who they are, where they are, what they're doing. Just fill up that pipeline with people. It was about volume. It was about quantity, not quality. And so, you might have heard, the more freebies you create, the more people come in. Come on, get them from all angles, right? And then this typical funnel would be, okay, now they have the freebie. They're still at the top of funnel. And then you have the middle of funnel where you're nurturing. That's why people talk about email nurture sequences. And email nurture sequences can have a place, but I want us to really get committed to say, I'm speaking to the premium best client who will go fast. She will not require days, weeks, months God forbid, years to work with me, right? So I don't want you to think, they signed and now I'm going to expect this long nurture. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like a lot of people in, we're going to nurture, and then we're going to have a sales event, whether it's a challenge or a sales call or who knows what, and then finally get the client in. I mean, this traditional funnel would be like, well, it can take, 29 touches and 8 hours of consuming content. That's not necessarily the case when you're dialed in, when you're precise. So, funnels that actually draw in that high caliber best client is not linear anymore. And it's not even a funnel. It doesn't look like a funnel. It's fluid with many entry points. So don't let this confuse you, okay? But for this scalable offer, and it could be 2K, 5K, 10K, whatever it is, I just put some numbers for context. These arrows, like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this? Okay. The idea here is sometimes somebody would find you on social and say, give me the link to this. I don't even have that. But it's true. It's happened. Okay. But you might think, okay, I have two freebies, but here's the deal: people don't have to do a freebie and then a low ticket offer and then a mid ticket offer and then finally come into your world. They could come in at a freebie and sign up right away. Or they could come into a freebie and then, get a low ticket something and then feel like they could do it. So all these different ways, you can get a freebie and then they could go into a mid ticket and then sign up. But the point here is it's not like this. And it could go really fast. And that's how I want you to get in your brain to expect. Don't think nurture is just the way business is. We speak to that fast, ready buyer. And because not everybody is a fast buyer, they could still be a premium client, but they're not necessarily a super fast mover. Well, then that's where nurture comes in to speak to those premium best client people who move a little bit slower. But we're still expecting that after, very short nurture, she's going to see it and jump in. If there's any questions on that, pop it in the chat and I'm happy to come back. But what I call this is the precision sales matrix. It's a matrix. And this is no, when you say, Judy, you have two, lower ticket offers, two freebies, and a bundle and a this. Like, is that the magic formula? There is no magic formula. I do recommend that to get started, you have one freebie, and one lower ticket offer. Because look at all the activities could just come from that. There's still so many ways. And I will tell you, one potent freebie is better than two that are not titled well and don't really deliver that quick win for your people. Okay. Now, when it relates to this matrix instead of a funnel, the idea is you have to reverse engineer your funnel, quote unquote, so you hit your goals. So, if you create funnels like this, if that's your kind of the way you're thinking, then you're going to be reaching out to the wrong people and you're absolutely going to repel that premium best client. Okay. Because look, the point there is, remember up here, it was the gurus would say, speak to somebody, like just like speak to that early buyer, and then they'll elevate up, even though it's backwards. You see what I'm saying? That's so wrong. Because if your premium best client consumes your freebie and it is so elementary or so kind of blah that she's like, this is garbage, she'll pass right by you. So your freebie has to blow her mind, that best client's mind. Okay, and I'm going to go deeper into all of this and everything else we've talked about in the lab in my 5-day event coming up in the first week of March. Here's what you need to know. The most profitable and successful companies win by systematizing their sales. Systematizing like this, and automations, etc., and structuring their offers so that they're primed to scale. And you're going to learn how to do that in the live event. And so I have the different days titles here and a link that is now ready to go. You can grab your seat. The first 100 are free. We're 30% filled because of the DMs and things I've been reaching out. So do not delay. All right. Before I talk about what we're going to do now, Any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask a question. Are we good? Okay. All right. Let's dive into what we're going to be doing in the next half hour. Okay. First, I want you to capture your thoughts from each side of the triangle. First, for you. Okay. That's what step one is for you. What are your thoughts about you as the authority for your people? What are your thoughts that your offer is the solution that best client needs? And what are your thoughts around that best buyer, that best client prospect that they will get results? And the reason I have this asterisk is when I say capture your thoughts, because thoughts flow from your beliefs. We can talk a good game. What we're thinking tells really what we truly believe. So I want you to give some time to do that. And next, when that's done, I want you to brainstorm the objections that your highest caliber best client's going to have for each side of the triangle. So it's like looking at the triangle for you, then looking at the triangle for your, again, that high caliber premium best client. What are her objections? And then I almost think like I like to have paper with a line drawn down the middle. And so objections on one side, and then on the other side is how am I going to handle that, or how do I comfort her? How do I explain that what she's concerned about isn't really a concern at all? Okay, so I want you to identify those objections that the best client has, not the one that's a complainer, not the one that's an excuse maker. Okay, and then power think as to how you're going to address each. And the idea here is, with respect to these objections, how do you show them, not necessarily tell them, that they're very well served, that's not a problem. In fact, what they thought was a problem is not a problem. Okay, so sometimes we're like, well, like if it's about price and you go, well, the value of this, I'm only charging 2,000, the value of this is 5,000. I don't think anybody would say that, but that's the idea. Just telling them that isn't going to allay any concerns. So I want you to think about, how would I address that? And then the whole purpose of why I want you to do this is I want you to make sure that once you identify these objections, that you address them ahead of time in your sales calls, like in your questions. Weave this in. Weave in what their concerns are as you talk about your offer, your work, and how it could help them, as well as in your content and during sales events. So when you have a challenge, and my challenge, this event is not a challenge, it's an event that's coming up in March. This is the work that I've done. I know the objections I'm going to be getting, and I'm weaving it into my script, to what I'm going to be teaching. Okay. So that's how this is so useful. This is not busy work. This is the stuff that's going to change and increase significantly your close rates. Or for those of you that your close rates are good, but you got to get more people. I mean, all of this compounds and builds one on the other, because when you address, this is huge, address these objections in your social content and in your emails. And even sometimes be as bold as to put the objection in quotes, maybe in the subject line. Like, it's good. Like they're thinking it, so you might as well, address the pink elephant in the room. Okay. And if you want coaching, because I want to walk through some of this, then just type coaching in the chat and we'll get through as many as we can. All right. Any questions at all? If not, let's work until the top of the hour, and then we're going to come back. And I am hoping to dig into some of your mind junk. And because we're talking about sales, it may not be sales even as much as money, because money comes up. It's absolutely a part of it. So go to the Lord and capture all these thoughts. If you have any questions, pop it in the chat. And our specific ways of talking about things, our disruptive approaches to our work, and our clients' objections. Amazing. I actually just posted one to Instagram. Ooh, I got to take a peek. Now, listen, as you're coming back, I want to begin with anybody that wants coaching around your mindset issues. If we have time, I'll be happy to help with objections. But I really want us to address some money blocks, sales blocks. So if you are game, type in coaching in the chat. That's great. That's really awesome. Love it. All right. I don't see anything in the chat. Now, come on. Somebody has got a mindset issue. Coaching, Amanda. All right. How can I help?
There we go. How are you?
Good, Amanda. How are you doing, hon?
Good. I wasn't going to get on coaching, but hey, if you're here and we have time, I am going to take advantage of it.
Good girl.
I would love some help around coming up with. I'm actually not getting as many price objections as I am time objections. For example, I was on a sales call this morning and the gal was confident in the pricing, but I guess part of it is because I help people with their side businesses, turning them into full-time businesses. And she said she's taking a break from her side hustle, which is her photography business, until like April, May, June. So she wants to start then,
Okay.
which in a sense is, I get it. But I did ask her some questions around, she doesn't know for sure that she wants to let go of her 9 to 5 because I can tell she's like a safety security type person. But I
Okay.
said, if you knew you could replace that income with photography, would you? She said, absolutely.
Mm.
So just curious if you have any feedback for us as to how we can tackle that. I don't want to start yet.
I do. I do. But before I do that, that's the objection piece. So
Right?
I'm gonna skip to Michelle. I want to hit Michelle, do you have a because I'll come back to you, Amanda. Believe me,
No
I will
problem. No problem.
because that's a good one. That's a good one. But that I will tell you that whole premise of I have no time and this side hustle, like that's you're going all in there. So you need to understand what she's really grappling with so that you can come up with like, oh my goodness, well, this is why this makes perfect sense now. So I have lots of ideas. I'm going to be good. It's going to be fun to come back. All right, Michelle, what is your mindset issue? Lack of certainty in part.
Um, I just went ahead and just for clarity, I just put some of the objections that I was working through. And yeah, it actually does give good content too, because I can elaborate. The
Oh,
one I did not
so
put,
yours is objections too? Does any, you don't have like a mindset issue like,
oh
uh,
yes, the objection I did not put down in here is this seems expensive.
oh no, 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 no. I mean, ladies, okay, I'm obviously not speaking
Oh, you mean my personal
like
mindset?
your mindset, not theirs. Before we get to theirs and addressing objections, I really like who here is like Judy. I avoid like asking people to schedule consults because I don't like
Okay, yeah.
like
I
that.
think it goes hand in hand because I do have obviously I still have a money mindset issue.
Okay,
Because I'm attracting tire kickers. I'm attracting those low ticket people. So I know it's me.
okay,
I know it is.
okay. It's so interesting. So I would encourage y'all to not say I am. I was. I have been attracting the wrong person. So now that I know who I'm talking to, like do you, as you look at your content, Michelle, can you kind of get out of your head and into theirs and see, oh, I see now why my best person isn't reaching out to me? Like, do you see maybe the lack of clarity or the lack of specificity that you can look at it and because that's when you know you're on the right track. It's okay if the past has been whatever it's been, but when you can actually troubleshoot and look at your content and say, oh, yeah, it's not really clear who I work with. It's not really clear even like how what I help them with. So talk to me about that.
I think so, and I think I've been avoiding really doing that deep dive into that, honestly. I have always wanted to work number one in corporate, but I was never that corporate employee.
Hmm.
So I've always felt a mindset around that. And now I really am feeling like the Lord's leading me to those high ticket 100K, 6, 7 figure business owners that if they don't feel better, their business is going to tank.
Yeah.
because, and this is all very new. So I know we've not talked about this. This has been like within the last 2 days
Mhm.
because I am attracting the lower ticket tire kickers
And
and
what kind of people are they? Like, tell me, like, who are they? What?
um okay, so they're the people that will pay half payment, split pay of a 297 offer. They really need the next
No,
tier.
but I mean,
They're, oh, you mean average? Like what they're doing?
not even like money. Like, I'm just thinking, like, the one who has disposable income, the one who
Okay.
knows she has a problem, the one who doesn't have to ask hubby as if it's her dad, like that, those
Yeah.
characteristics, right? As
Yeah.
opposed to if you're like, well, Jude, the one they tend to be stay-at-home moms or retirees, and they're constantly talking about money issues, and they're like, if they're obviously a bad client, but sometimes if it's hard to define, not saying it is, but if it's hard to define this true best client, sometimes it's good to say, well, here's who I know I don't want. Like the people who have these characteristics.
Yes. And I think you
So,
walked us through an exercise doing that a little while ago.
yeah, I'm
So
sure we
I know
did
I've,
on our
I think so.
messaging lab. Our messaging lab. Can
Yes, so
someone,
I've got that. I've got that in there. So yes. So I know it just seemed so easy with my VIPer and another client that I had 4 years ago. Those two women, and I've had a bunch in between. They were super easy. They didn't talk to their husband. They didn't have any issues, and
okay,
they've done amazing.
okay.
So
And how did she find you?
the VIPer found me through doing a Google search.
Okay, there. Okay, ladies, this is so good. So I don't want to get into strategy, but mindset. That should be so encouraging to you
It
that
was.
you're like, wait a minute, I didn't even post. Like
Yeah.
she did a Google. I came up high enough for her to find me. We talked and done. She went to my highest level. Like that is the thing. So that when the devil wants to say, you're attracting those tire kickers and you're never gonna whatever, whatever, then you say, no, actually, that's when you get grounded. This is where I'm saying, ladies, this is all of it, the alignment, the embodiment. I am a God appointed authority. So could I help someone like that doesn't have make 100,000? Of course. But she has to know that she wants help. She has to be willing to invest. So we're going to talk to that high level person. So as you work with her, I would highly encourage you, Michelle. I don't want to say pick her brain, but get to know her so well that you're like, okay, I need 50 more of these ladies. Like this is who I'm talking to, and ask her maybe if there's an onboarding. Tell me about. I might make an extra call. Tell me about what's going on in your life. Tell me about your day to day. Just like take me through a day, take me through an evening so that you can really understand. And what led you to Google? And what exactly did you Google? Right? Because I never want any of you right now, if the thought comes up, I'm attracting the wrong person, I don't want you to say that unless it's on the heels of, but now I know how to turn that around. But now I know how to turn that around. And it's not as if I'm going to change language, today and all of a sudden, the floodgates are going to come in. But what will happen is over time, when you put out a true body of work instead of just quick content, right? When it's substantively potent, you're going to get more and more of those right people. So, let's address the mindset issue. Then I want to move on. So, I was never in corporate. That's so interesting. Or maybe if you're working with 6 or 7 figure entrepreneurs and you aren't yet at 6 or 7, because I know that
Right.
happens a lot. Uh, Tell me, Michelle, I'm going to make you kind of think this through. Tell me where you go with that. And I'm glad that you're aware of the thought. My thought is, I'm not one of them. So how could I speak to them?
Yeah, and I think that has kept me, I don't want to say stuck because obviously I keep moving forward, right? This whole time I've been moving forward, so I don't want to say stuck, but the crust of it is I lived what I'm helping them come out of. I did work a full-time crazy hour swing shift position while caring for a family member that had Alzheimer's while having going through a crap load of family stress that brought me to burnout. So like I lived all of that and I did not get the support from
Mm.
providers. I had to help myself dig out of it.
Mhm. Okay, so good. So,
So,
as a practical matter, we don't need, this is might surprise you. Some of you don't need to have lived the life of your best client. You don't have to achieve where she's achieved as long as you can help her. Like Shan helps nurses. So if she's not a nurse, that would be silly. Like she doesn't know their world. I mean, she could, but there's nothing like being in it. But for you, she's helping them live the nurse life that she knows. Michelle, you're not helping her um, get a promotion at work. You're helping her where you shine, where you have expertise, which is how I juggle a lot, deal with stress, and came from major chronic fatigue or whatever the adrenal fatigue and figured it out. And I can help you. You don't have to go down to the pit. So we have to focus when everything comes up. But I didn't make what she made, or I never did what she did. Is it relevant to your expertise? That's the question.
yeah, and I think that it was such a gift getting this VIPer who is a CEO of a hospital because I felt like it was a heavenly hug from the Lord, like you all these things you've had in your brain for the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's not that's a lie. So
Yeah, for sure. And I want to say everything that comes to us is a gift from the Lord.
yeah.
And and if he deemed you worthy of the gift, then you're worthy of that level client. So that when the enemy says, "Who do you think you are?" all you have to do, Michelle, is remember that. But God dropped this person literally in my lap. So anything else is just a lie of the enemy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we go. So, all right. Anybody, well, what is it? Bridget had to go. Oh, darn it. Okay. All right. So let's move to Amanda on the objection, and then I'll come back to Michelle on the objection. Okay. All right. Amanda.
Yes.
So you help women working full time with a side hustle. So this idea of I don't have time, or I might even take a pause from the side hustle, they minimize that. That's got to
Yes.
come up. That's
Yep.
gonna come up. So did you happen to give thought to that pen to paper on how to answer that before I chime in?
I did, but I think that's why I asked is because like this particular girl this morning, and perhaps it's just it is what it is, right? But knowing you, there's something I can do to make that a little bit easier. But anyway, she said, I'm putting my side business, my photography business on pause because I'm experiencing burnout and exhaustion, and I'm picking it back up in April, May, or June. So I'd like to start your program then.
Okay. Um, so this is so interesting. She said I'm approaching burnout or she's feeling the burnout. Just
Yeah, she's just moved. She's got these two young children. She's got a 9 to 5. So
okay.
she's kind of taken a break, I think were her words.
That's so fun. So I'd say, gosh, I can certainly appreciate that. You've got a lot on your plate, right? So what circumstances are going to be different in April than right now? Like make her say it. She go, oh, well,
Hmm.
we just moved, so the house will be settled and da 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 and da 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 da, and you go, okay, that makes sense. Well, then I would back up. I ask question, then I go. This is how I did in depositions. I ask a question, I'm going one way, and I come back and I go down another lane, right?
Hmm.
I don't want to say I'm cornering her, but I'm getting all the different roads. So
Yeah.
then I would say something like, and you asked the question when you said something about uh, if you if you had your way, do you want to pause? Like if the circumstances weren't such that making you feel super stressed, would you want to pause? And her answer was no, right? I really would love to keep going. And then I would say, tell me about that. Because the more she talks, the more you're going to learn
Yeah.
about that. And depending upon what she says, you know, it would just be one of those things where this is where you have to put your mind to the problem. It's going to come up. And so
Yes.
you can't, when you've chosen this as your best client, you can't assume, oh, well, some are going to say that. And I know you're not, but I mean, we have to think this through. We have to strategically think through the questions to ask,
Exactly.
bring her to the place where she's like, yeah, I'm either serious about this side hustle or not. So the questions would probe into, tell me about your full-time job. Is it like, do you like it? Do you hate it? Like, what do you think about that? And then tell me about your worst day there. Like I would tell me about your worst day.
That's so good.
And maybe leading up to that, I would say, in my experience, um, women that have full-time gigs and do side hustles, it's because the full time situation was not good for a number of
Right.
reasons. What's your reason? It could
So
be
good.
a toxic environment. It could be, the pay was horrible. It could be so many different things. It would be stressed because I can't get home in time for the kids getting home from school off the bus or whatever the situation. And then you bring that back around. And that is why, Amanda, I'm telling you, the key to your business blowing up is you figuring out the exit plan.
Right.
You
Yes.
saying, well, you know what? And then it's like, well, definitely a question is, when do you see yourself handing in that pink slip? What is your deadline? If she says she doesn't have a deadline, say, well, it's one of those things where if you don't have a target, then you're never going to get there. And if you have a target but it keeps moving, you're never going to get there either. So again, assuming that all things are possible, when would you like to hand in that pink slip? And then you could say, great, what if I told you that I have a blah 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 exit plan, whatever protocol, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that allows you to map it out so that you know that every little thing that has to happen for you to meet that deadline. And ideally, if you could say, I could get you there in 90 days or I could get you there in whatever, but if you don't feel comfortable with that, at least you can speak with certainty
Yes.
that when we do XYZ, that's going to, and you can even say this, look, I can't promise that you're going to be able to meet that deadline. If she says 3 months, you might say, I can't promise that, but what I can promise is you're going to have the best chance of meeting that deadline.
Yes.
My la 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 exit plan.
Love it. That's helpful because I think that brings me back to your first step that you told us to do, which was to capture your thoughts and beliefs about your part of the triangle.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, I am certain that I can help women increase their income, have more predictable, be more consistent. I'm certain about a lot of that. I think I have to build my belief in this whole exit plan thing because I did it. Why am I so, I
Yeah.
keep, and I think it's because in my head, and again, mindset issues, just I did it with the backing of my husband's income at the time. So I want to make sure I can help women who don't have that backing or who are the breadwinner.
Okay, you know what's really awesome though? This is so good because your ladies are going to use that as an excuse if they're a single mom.
Yeah,
Or if their husband's a poo-poo and they really are wishing to get divorced, and maybe that's why they were, I don't know,
right.
number of things. But this is where, when you say to me, Jude, I'm a mindset and sales expert, then this is right up your alley. So
You're
that
right.
you're going to be helping them to say, look, nothing's guaranteed in life. Markets change and this and that. But what I'm certain of, see, that's where you have to nail down your certainty. And when I talk
Mm-hmm.
about this exit plan, and I'm hoping you all are catching something juicy that you all can use too. When I'm talking about this exit plan, this is a framework that you will develop in conversation with the Lord. And let's not overthink it. We can just say, what did I do? Number one, I decided when I was leaving. Number two, I did this. Number three, I did that, right? So that it's really not that hard. And where our mind's going to want to go is, yeah, but a lot of yeah buts. Yeah, but I
Mm-hmm.
know this works, but what if her mom gets sick and she has to whatever? What if her kids? What if who knows what? But this is where you have to build in. This is why I mean, you talking. This is where my mindset expertise um holds you. It holds you so that when unexpected happens, I got you. And I'm going to
Yeah.
teach you how to have yourself. have your own back,
Yeah.
right? So that again, we don't know the exact timelines, but you're going to know the steps because, and then you can even say most women that come to me, they haven't a clue. They don't know. All they know is they want to get out.
Yep.
And there's the whole starting of the business and getting that rocking and rolling, in addition to dealing with kids maybe and dealing with the full-time job. And what I do in this exit plan is steps, maybe time allocations, roughly like a range of time, you know um and why do I say time? What I want to be clear, what I mean is, um these various steps, you'll know that you can get the first step done in the first week or in the first
Hmm.
2 days. You know what I'm saying? This is where these tiny timelines, these quick win timelines, when you're like, okay, when you come to me, as soon as we start working together, we're going to have an onboarding call. And by the end of that week, you're going to have the plan all figured out because it's so easy. You're going to plug and play because you're going to know exactly where to,
What you have to do.
yeah, and plug in the dates. It's as easy as that. I mean, think about that. If somebody wants to go and that's how easy you made it. We're going to meet, you're going to plug in the dates. We're going to talk things through. And by the end of the first week, you're going to know exactly what you have to do by when in order to hit the deadline. I'd
Love
be
it.
like, really?
Sign
Like,
me up.
yeah, you've just eliminated, I don't know, at least a dozen questions that she was concerned about.
Great. Great, great, great. Very helpful.
Okay. You're so welcome. All right. Michelle. And if anybody else, I don't know that anybody else. No. All right, Michelle. Now we're going back to objections. And I'm looking at your chat. Just unmute and tell me where I'm going and what your biggest question is.
Oh gosh. I feel like I'm good with all the other ones. I just feel like it was the money thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I
But
was
I
dealing,
mean,
I was dealing with your money junk.
I
If
know.
you want to talk about how you get through that with her,
Okay, let's
let's
do
do that.
that.
Okay.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Because even, okay, for example, even when they pay me the money, the higher price point, they tell me, oh, I have other people that need this, but they can't afford this price point. So it's constantly getting in my head. So yeah, I'm like, I want to stand so solid and confident that this is the value of the year
You're
because
going
if
to love
they,
me. You're going to love
yes,
me right now. Okay. Grab your pens because I would never have said this. I would never have said this a year ago. The juice of your program, just like Breakthrough, my mastermind, is this: it's access to you.
yeah.
It is the group calls so that questions get answered, et cetera, et cetera. But of course, that takes your time. And then if you do, as I believe you do, answer questions between calls. Like tonight, I'm gonna watch, or this afternoon after this, I'm gonna be watching Charlotte's hour long event. Like it's gonna take me probably 45 minutes to look at that, and I do it, and that takes time. But that's gonna be what helps her to refine her thing, right? So what I'm saying to you is, let's not minimize that price at all because it's worth more than what you're charging for it. But perhaps you could take out some pieces of your program, you know, and maybe all of it, not all of it, you'll save some things, but like the bulk of it, and put it out as a course. I would never have said that a year ago.
No.
But, but, you know what, for you, like I wouldn't say all of it. I'm not going to release all of the stuff, but like that's just the core pillars, the core stuff. And you could say you have it for this, but you are going to hold things back. You are going to remove the replays, the group call replays. You are going to hold things back. But they get in and they see, oh my gosh, I thought I could do it on my own, but I can't. So that for those, like I just think your restore program for 297 is so low that my fear is, I don't want to have a fear. My concern is that the freebie seekers will say, it's too much. And then the right person would say, this can't be much. How much is it?
Yeah. I've been wrestling with that.
So again, everything we make is for that ultimate best client. We're not having it at price points in order to get the money to come in or to serve whatever people see. But so we're staying high, but maybe that person, if they have the characteristics of a true best client, maybe they legitimately don't have the money. I doubt it, but maybe they legitimately don't. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They really want what you got, but they can't afford the multi-thousand. Okay, great. Here's what you can get for 1,500 or whatever the price. So that is, I think, and why I suggest that for you, because I know you and your business, is that could be a very easy tweak to bring money in so that, and last thing I'll say is this, and I'm going to talk about this at the scale event. There are strategies that are front facing to the public, and there are other strategies that are in the back end, whether it's the back end of clients or back end of email lists, or in your case, a Facebook group. So that I'm not saying necessarily that you tell the world that you have a course that does X, Y, or Z, but for those already on your list, for those already watching you, for those with who you've already had a conversation, you may have 10 people right now willing to pay you $1,500 when they couldn't pay you $6. And they get results because they do, again, have these same characteristics. That's the most important thing. They can't be excuse makers. I'm not doing this to cater to the excuse makers. Am I making myself clear? I just want to make sure I'm not muddying up the waters here. But what I see, Michelle, I will say, when you say, well, Judy, I'm going in a little bit of a different direction, that always gives me pause, because I want you to be so sold and decided, like there is no changing, at least not for the next 6 months. So that's where I'm at. Like God just dropped the highest level client in you. You should be on the moon right now saying, okay, if there's one, there's two, there's four. Where are they? I'm going to speak to her, get to know her so well, and throw out content about that. Did that help?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, no, it does. It's, I really felt like 4 months ago, God was telling me create this foundational uh like membership. It's not really a program. I did start it out with a program, and within weeks I realized they couldn't handle the modules. They couldn't handle it. And so I pulled all that out, and it's just this. It's weekly connection, and then Monday through Friday support. If they have a question, they shoot me a message. It's fine.
Okay.
But I cringe at the price myself. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? Like I've been trying to build a trust building offer, right? But I feel like it's just way too low. And I will tell you, last year when I wrestled with something else and a higher ticket and I raised the price, then I got two clients. So I'm really like, is that what you're trying to tell me, Lord? Just don't even worry about, yeah. And then where do I go? Like at what price point? So
okay. I mean, it's just decisions, and it's
I
just, it
know.
really is play, right? Even though it may not feel like it. So I want to plug in as we wrap up. I want to end on something you said about the price even makes you cringe. Are you talking about your Restore 12-week thing for $300?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine when you're like, there's pent up resentment. And
Yeah.
maybe that's too strong a word, but maybe it nails it on the head. It's resentment, especially if, and I don't know about this, if the people that are in for 300 don't show up, don't do the work, and might even send a thing saying, I wish this was at a different time or something, right? So what are we doing? Nobody's happy. You're not happy. They're not happy because they're the wrong people. And meanwhile, like that's messing with your head. So I would rethink that. And there's a friend of yours that does something similar. And I'm like, why is that price so low? Hers is a little bit higher than you, right? And if she feels good about it, great. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Yeah. and I love her dearly. And I was just talking to somebody who is working with her, and she helped her. I mean, it's just, and I reached out to her and I go, you're amazing. And never forget that. You are so freaking amazing. But I really want you, Michelle, to not worry about capturing those who can't afford. That is not the point for any of us. Our goal is to say, Lord, who did you set apart for me? We wait for him to tell it clearly, and we march. And we talk to that person. And all the offers are for that person. So again, that high caliber person that is that executive or that entrepreneur that's doing well, she's not going to want somebody with a Kmart price. It's going to make her think you're not all the awesomeness that you are. So
Yeah.
membership, I'm like, that would not be on my radar for you at all. Now, pulling out a pillar or something like Restore and ultimately turning that into maybe a low ticket taster that, I don't know what the price point would be. Again, why that would feel better is it's hands off and you're going to blow their mind. You got to make sure it's set up to do that. You see what I'm saying? But I hope I made you feel better and not worse. But the resentment of price and the resentment of clients is going to it's going to reduce your capacity to sell it at all.
And it's going to burn me out, which is what's happening.
Yeah. So I don't know how far along you are in the 12 weeks, but either
I'm
next.
in my second round of 12 weeks.
Okay. In week what? Just started or?
It started in January 1st week.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, you know, uh, to the extent that you love this program and you see them getting results, then I would start thinking about how can I make this just a course. You can call it whatever you can call it. You can call it a self-directed program. Okay. But how awesome would that be? Start talking about it. Start talking about the results of your clients and saying, I told you, this is not going to be offered live again. But if you want this program, this self-directed program, early bird pricing goes away, blah, blah, blah date, but talk about it. It's not about the price and the deadline as much as what am I going to get out of this? What is it about?
Okay. Yeah, lots of thinking and praying. Thank you.
Okay. But it's so easy. You see, it's just a decision. And so I would encourage you to, on the heels of the VIP client, that's who I'm talking to. I'm so excited to sign another one. That's who I'm talking to. Something on your website was excellent enough for this high caliber person to reach out to you and say, let's go. So certainly those in your audience, and there are high powered people that are watching you. They just need to hear something. And you will never be able to deliver that unless you feel it. Like, I am awesome. Like, let's go. Do you ever watch somebody on social and they look like they think they're so neat and they talk in a way and you're like, what? And that's why I'm on social very, very little. But the point is, but they come with something. They come with an energy where you know that they believe they can help.
Yeah, I know. I know. And it's so funny because like the whole burnout thing, like I'm throwing all my energy into this group format what I have and I'm just like I don't even want to do Tuesday nights anymore. Like I want my nights. Like I just don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurs, they will figure out a way to make it build into their time. But the people that, have to punch a clock, they can't. And so I've been trying to cater to them and be
Okay, but
respectful of that, but I'm burning out.
and that's what we think. We don't cater to people if it's going to be at our to sacrifice our health,
Right.
mental,
Right.
physical, and otherwise, right? And so,
Right.
um, last thing I'll say on that is this is why we create offers that when I said I don't want you to love it, because the point of the triangle wasn't believing that it's awesome, but that it gets your clients results. Okay. So, but for this purpose, there is an element of I need to love my offer. I need to look forward to spending time with my clients. That
I,
can't be
I
a
love this. I love the second tier of my offer and I love the VIP offer, but it's just the smaller that I'm just like,
gotta go. Then it's
I mean,
gotta
I'm sure you can sense I'm very low energy today. I usually have way more energy. So,
yeah. And I don't want that for you. So just get excited about more of those VIPs. Focus there. Maybe even forget my idea about the whole course thing. But focus on the VIP. What does she need to hear today? What does she need to know? What is your unique take on something that she's thinking about related to burnout, related to fatigue, related to whatever it is, right? That's who you're talking to.
Okay.
And I
Thank you,
will tell you
Judy.
though that there are women in corporate and professional women who could potentially make themselves available during the day, right? So they have enough autonomy that maybe they could schedule their lunch around that. So that's one thing I thread. Of course, there's different time zones, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying so like as a lawyer, if I'm on trial, I can't, you know, but maybe if I'm in the office and I choose to, sit in on the call, if it's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock ish. So I don't want you to anymore make decisions that you don't love, that don't feel good for you, because it's ultimately going to
Yep.
be what you're experiencing right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. Thank you, Judy.
All right. You're so welcome. All right. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. If as you're doing this work, if you have objections that you'd love my eyes on or thoughts on, or if you're like Judy, as I thought about it, if I have to be honest, I have this big stuck point when it comes to money or sales. Tell me, put it in the group, and I will do my best not to miss it. I hope Facebook doesn't tell me it's spam. Anyway, I love you all so much. I have loved these 4 weeks together because I've seen your faces as I'm doing it, and it's like, ooh, yeah, there's some aha moments going on. So, tell me your experience here. I'm going to be sending out a review, a survey later this week, and I would love your honest opinion. I want to know the good, the bad, the ugly. What was this experience like for you? What did you love about it? What do you wish could have been different? That kind of thing. So I will see you over in the group, and God bless. Mwah. Take care.